Hello, everyone. This is Shereem Herndon-Brown, founder and president of Strategic Admissions Advice, and I'm very, very honored today to be in the presence of Dr. Nzinga Harrison. She is a personal friend, but obviously a parent and a professional as well. And she's going to be answering some of the questions that many of you already answered for me. And I'd like to continue to answer that, have you answer them amongst many of you. So I'm talking way too much. Nzinga, would you kindly introduce yourself, and then we'll go get along with the questions.
Thanks for having me here today, Shereem. So as he stated, I am Dr. Nzinga Harrison. I'm a physician with specialties in psychiatry and addiction medicine. Professionally, I am the chief medical officer of a large private nonprofit behavioral health system. And I'd say more importantly, personally, I am wife and mother of two sons, age 11 and 10.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Again, I appreciate your time. And I think with the aim of this is to have a conversation about education with people who are having the conversation. Sometimes we're doing it amongst ourselves or with our parents or immediate circles, but now we have the opportunity to share with the world. And I think that people want to hear what people are doing with their children. So you've told us what you do professionally. We appreciate that tremendously. Where did you go to college, and how do you think it helped you with your career?
I went to Howard University in Washington, D.C., Bison, and I have to do it every time. I was a cheerleader, so can't get away from it. That is a historically Black college and university. I feel like that's really important to mention because I think it really fortified kind of a self-esteem and an appreciation and wrapped loving arms around me in a way that a bigger majority white institution, I don't believe, would have. I was a high performer in elementary school, middle school, high school, and so there was definitely some pressure not to go to an HBCU, and I'm glad that I made the decision to do that. I will anticipate your next question, which is from Howard University. I then went to medical school at the University of Pennsylvania, which is Ivy League. And so contrary to the people who try to convince me not to go to an HBCU because they thought it would thwart my future opportunities, it didn't. So I went from Howard, and then I stepped into the Ivy League to the at that time, number 3 medical school in the country, and did my, doctorate in medicine, and then went from there on to Emory to do residency in psychiatry, again, one of the top programs in the country, and now I'm the chief medical officer for a large medical system. So I feel like going to Howard gave me the foundation that I needed to have the confidence that I needed to be who I am, to turn into the professional that I am.
And you're a pretty good professional. Just to let you know,
thanks.
And you met a really cool person down in Howard your freshman year that I know pretty well.
Would have been completely different had I not gone to Howard. My husband is also a Bison, so we're a 2 HU parent family.
Excellent. Thank you for sharing all that you do and all that, how your college helped you. So with that, you're a parent, you have kids, and right now, I guess the expectation is for them to go to college one day. Is that correct?
Yes, which I know is probably surprising to you and surprising to your
Not
audience.
surprising at all. It's a great conversation to have. I think many people are having it, but not openly.
Right. So I'm a physician. So I'm kind of like the traditional professional, right? My husband is an entrepreneur. He trades the stock market. He's a day trader. He works for himself. We actually both work from home, which is unconventional. So our children don't see parents that get up and go to a 9 to 5 every day. They see parents. They know I don't work for myself, but it looks like I work for myself. And they know that dad works for himself. They know that we went to college. They both kind of said that they want to go to Georgia Tech, but college or else kind of isn't the air that we breathe in our house. It's not the environment that we have in our house. It's kind of like, what are your talents and how will you work hard and how will you use those talents to be the best that you can be and make the most of your life and make the world a better place. And college fits in there, but it's interesting. And
And that's why we're having the conversation. I feel
yeah,
like in many conversations I'm having with a lot of people, once upon a time, college was you had to go to college because it was the portal to which you would get a good job and start your career. And
mm-hmm.
we're no one's saying that that's wrong. I am in the college advising business. I want students to explore the opportunity to go to college. I want them to have college choices.
Mm-hmm.
However, I am a parent as well, and I think as my children are getting older, I want to see what their talents are, what their skills are, what their interests are, so that I can nurture those as well. So by no means are you unusual in thinking, hey, college serves some and doesn't serve others. So
Right.
in terms of your own children, you'll figure that out.
Right. And it's interesting because I think, our generation is in a different position than our parents were in, because really that was the way we had out, right? You had professional sports and you had college. And kind of it's a different time now where we have the luxury to think about these things differently. We have the means to give our children opportunities to think about these things differently, and we don't take that for granted. But my husband is Joel, and he always laughs. His parents, he was like, my parents told me you will be an engineer, a doctor, a dentist, or a lawyer, period, or you will be useless. Like that was pretty much the message that he was given growing up. And so he went to college and he got a biology degree, and today he trades the stock market. But it was a long, circuitous route for him to be able to get there. Luckily, I happen to love medicine, so my biology degree served me.
Biology, here it is.
Right, exactly.
I,
So it worked out for me.
I am curious, and I jumped the question. What kind of advice were you given as you were going to college in terms of, you said that people were saying you're such a high achiever, you shouldn't go to an HBCU. Do you think the foundation that you had in middle school, yes, middle school, and in high school set you up to have a multitude of college choices, or was that purely on you?
So luckily, my mother was an educator. So she was an elementary school teacher and then a principal and then an assistant superintendent when I was growing up. Otherwise, there literally would have been nothing.
Hmm.
So academic counselor in middle school, no idea who that person was or if that person existed. In high school, I definitely did have a high school counselor. And she and my mother worked hard together. But like the first counselor I had said, oh, there's no reason for you to take the PSAT. Right. And from what I understand, I know your face was just, you got angry, right?
This is 1992-ish, 3-ish.
Correct. So, and I mean, I was a high performer. I didn't take the PSAT. So from what I understand to this day is that cut me out of like a lot of scholarship opportunities.
Yes,
Right.
you would have been national achievement, possibly.
Correct. And I mean, I ended up going to college on a full scholarship, but because my mom had my guidance counselor switched, and they did like a lot of work after the fact to like get it.
Mm.
And so no, there was like nothing. But my mom, she put me in engineering summer camps and science summer and all of this sort of things based on like what I liked. But it was purely my mom. And I ended up at Howard just because we went to DC on a church field trip, and I had never seen so many Black people in one place. And I was like, I'm going to college here. And they were like, are you
Interesting.
sure? And I was like, I don't need to apply anywhere else. And she was like, no, my mom, apply at Michigan, apply at Indiana, apply at IU. And I was like, you're wasting your money because I'm going to Howard.
No, I think that's a big piece of the puzzle.
But
I think.
in terms of academic, like what you do, I mean, Joel and I literally just the other night was like, we were talking and we were like, should we sign up with Shereem about finding high school options for the kids? Because this is how far in advance we're thinking,
Yeah.
right? Our parents this didn't exist. It didn't exist. It was just like, we know we want our kids to go to college. And luckily my mom was an educator, or I probably would not have been on this trajectory at all, despite,
Understood.
despite
Understood.
the aptitude and interest.
You mentioned your kids in high school. What kind of schools do they go to now?
So our kids are in Montessori school now. It's been
Okay.
a fantastic, amazing fit. The difficulty with that is that they've been in Montessori school since preschool. So they've
Hmm.
never, ever been in a traditional setting. So to transition to it, they'll be in Montessori school all the way through middle school. So to transition to a traditional school for high school will be difficult. They'll
Hmm.
be transitioning their peer group. That will be difficult, right? We want to go to a high school that will open up whatever college options they want to have. So it needs to be academically competitive. It needs to be socially supportive. Our kids are athletes. So our son is an excellent soccer player. Both of our kids are state champion swimmers. And so we need to be looking at high schools that kind of open avenues for those, because both of them have Olympic hopes for swimming and both of them have Olympic talent at this age. So
I
if
want a ticket when they go. I want a ticket.
you've got it, no doubt, especially if you help us get, no,
I'm on.
okay, thank
Note
you
to
very much.
self: make sure I make that happen.
Notes. Thank you very much. And so we even, we're like accomplished professionals, like you said. We feel like we have as good a grip as you can have on this thing called parenting. I mean, it's an unwieldy beast. You fly by the seat of your pants. Nobody really knows what they're doing. But especially the part about figuring out where to send your kids to school, it's like you need somebody to help you with that. It is
Yeah, it's
almost
real.
impossible to figure out.
It is. It's complicated. So many
It
things
is
go into,
so complicated.
so many factors go into it. It's who is your child? You have two kids. Do they need to be at the same place?
They're different. They're so different.
Like you said, academically competitive. Maybe someone needs that. Maybe someone doesn't.
Right.
Athletic, artistic, supportive socially. And
Right.
these are all the ideals. And there is no perfect institution.
Right.
But it's good that you're thinking about high school as your children are in sixth grade and fifth grade, respectively, because it's coming up fast and furious.
So fast. And then it's like, we've been paying college tuition since the kids were 3.
Right.
So it's like, can we take some time off to actually save college tuition?
You and me both, sister. You and me both. You and me both. Um, Thank you for your time. I got one more question for you.
Yeah.
Okay, so you told us about your kid's school. You said that, thankfully you had a successful college career that took you to medical school.
Yeah.
Right now, I mean, what is the plan to get your kid to next high school, next college? What are the steps that you guys are doing now to kind of execute that strategy? The slogan of our company is manage, execute, and win. And
Okay.
first, you got to manage it, right? You got to kind
Yeah.
of think about, take the overview, figure out what you want to do. Then you got to execute the plan. And winning, in our estimation, is about having choices, right? You really want to have college choices
Agree.
or high school choices.
Agree.
Winning doesn't mean Howard. Winning doesn't mean Ivy League. Winning means choices that are applicable and appropriate for your child or children at the time that they're ready to make their own decision. So,
I
long,
absolutely love that definition of winning. So, and maybe one of the reasons I love it is because it makes me feel good about what we're doing, even though I don't necessarily. Okay, I was going to say, I don't know if we've been very strategic about it, but I think we have tried to be strategic about it. So what we're doing right now is trying to help our children identify their gifts and what they love, and giving them opportunities, one, to just like explore many different things and then hone it down to what they love and where their gifts lie. Right. And so, there's a book that I'm reading that's fantastic, building resilience in children and teens, giving your children roots and wings, something like that. And one of the premises in it is that, there are things you love to do, but you're not that great at it. And then there are things that you're really excellent at, but they bore you to death. And then there are things that you really love to do and you're really great at them. And you should be looking for a career, like, not that's you're amazing at it, but it's boring, because that's not going to fulfill you. And not you love to do it, but you're not so good at it, because that's going to be frustrating, right? You should
agreed.
be looking for something you're really good at that you love to do, because that will give you a fulfilling career. You work on it because you want to, you're good at it, you get positive reinforcement from it. And so right now we're trying to help the kids identify what are those things for them. And then our next step is, and then also socially, what do the kids need? Academically, are there any areas they need extra support? And so our oldest son has ADHD. He has a learning disorder called dysgraphia. We're getting him a coach. We're figuring out what are those, additional strategies that we need to put in place, because his IQ is literally off the charts, 95th percentile. So what are those extra strategies that we need to put in place to make sure that he's maximizing his IQ, right? Maximizing his social skills. The younger one, what do we put in place? Maximizing his interests. And then we'll be able to come to you and give you, like, here are their gifts. Here's what they love to do. Here's kind of where they have the type of environment they've thrived in socially. What kind of schools offer those types of environments. Help us with what are the best options. And then because we've, identified kind of what they needed, made sure their test scores have been able to look good, make sure their extracurriculars are in place, then we've opened them up to whatever their choices are. If they say, I want to go to college, if they say, I want money to start a business, if they say, I want to do whatever, the choices can be there.
That's great. And I think you're nailing it. I think actually you're probably being a lot more strategic unintentionally than you recognize.
Like unintentionally strategic.
But think about it. They have had swimming competitions at Emory University. I've been there. They've had swimming competitions at Georgia Tech. They have family that they know went to Purdue and Indiana and Howard and Florida A&M. Like, these are just things that I know off the top of my head that they are hearing these whispers in their ear. That sounds interesting. What did Uncle Reggie do at this school? What did Uncle Noble do at this school? He has an MBA from Clark. Where's Clark? So by that exposure to different kinds of people, different kind of environments, academically, the wheels are turning for them. And that you guys have done a great job with that. And, I think as a parent and as a professional, we are pulled in so many directions, trying to keep all the balls in the air, that, figuring out what the educational process or steps may be for our kids is not cut and dry. So having these conversations help. Hopefully it helps someone who's watching. And, I think it's an engagement that we all need to have, because there's not one formula for all people in for their education for their children.
Agree.
Dr. Nzinga Harrison, you are off the hot seat. I appreciate your time. You said some wise things, and it's obvious that you love your children very much, and you're going to cater to their needs and to their interests and to their talent. So thank you.
Inviting me.
Is there anything else you want to say about the education, children, anything you want to, before our guests kind of take off and shut down this YouTube video?
Nothing for your guests. Just be looking for my call, because
I am flattered, I am honored, and I'll invoice you. Yes, I will. We'll take care of that. All right. Thank you. Have a great day. Tell her I want to say hi.
All righty. Bye-bye.
Bye.